Hey there, Aniki Shuru here, racial equity coach for online business owners who are ready to build a business that is racially equitable so you can be intentionally inclusive. Today's lesson is all about the cost of not doing racial equity work. There is this belief that I sometimes come across from people who have not taken the time to do racial equity work, who think that this work is going away. Newsflash, my friend. This work of racial equity is not going away. In fact, if anything, this work will become very central to the coaching and personal development industry when it comes to the ability to hold space for people. Why? Because racial equity work, anti-racism work is trauma-informed work. And if you are a space holder, if you are somebody who is supporting coaching clients, and you're not able to hold space for them to unpack some of the traumas that they have experienced, or have the understanding, be aware, have the knowledge, you will not be able or have the capacity to support them. And so this is such a key thing when it comes to doing the work of racial equity. This is not what that we can, bypass or just be comfortable with the fact that I have a business, I have paying clients, and this is work that I really don't need to focus on because my business is taking away. That is something that, comes from privilege, having the privilege of the fact that identifying as a white person in business, things to do with race are not things that will affect you or impact your bottom line. And so you can just tick along and not have to address this unless there has been a tragedy or something that has happened that is forcing you to potentially attend to these things. But here's the thing. As your business continues to grow and have impact, there are skills that you need to keep growing and improving in, and being trauma-informed is one of those things. And when it comes to racial equity work is trauma-informed work. And this work is what will set you apart from your peers in your industry. The ability for somebody who comes from a marginalized background, or even does not come from a potentially marginalized background, but the fact that this is work that you are doing, it's ongoing, it's work that you invest in, be it from a money perspective or a time perspective, be it from having a racial equity coach who you work with hand in hand, who is part of your business and your group programs. The fact that you are dedicating some form of your time to growing and educating, and not just back in 2020 when there was this influx and lots of people in our industry demanding and wanting to learn how to be inclusive, but this has been ongoing work. This, my friend, will set you apart. And so today, the things that I want to talk to you about are the three things not doing racial equity work is costing you, from a personal perspective and also from a business perspective. Firstly, it's costing you relationships, be it on a personal level or even on a professional level. When you do not have the understanding of the barriers, the challenges, and the setbacks that people of color face and endure, it is going to desensitize you. There are certain things that you will see that you will not realize is an issue, and you will continue to perpetuate the systems that you may not be aware that you are a part of, but you'll continue to do the same things that you have done because you don't know any different. And so when it comes to cultivating relationships, you will more than likely cultivate relationships with people who look and sound like you, because that's where your comfort level possibly is. And the fact that if you haven't been exposed to people who come from different backgrounds, you find it a lot harder to initiate conversation, to form relationships that are deeper than just, that go further than beyond the surface, that are really meaningful relationships. They just be, the relationships that you have are just more of acquaintances. And so it is costing you relationships. But when you have done this work, are doing this work, you tend to pick up on certain things. For example, if you go to a networking group, or you're part of a group program, and you do notice people who come from different backgrounds, people of color, maybe you might take that step to initiate a conversation. You might take that step to get to know them a little bit better. And from there, potentially a relationship grows. And you do not know what that relationship, how that relationship might benefit you or even benefit them. And so the fact that somebody can make the choice to not do this work, this is costing you relationships, whether you know it or not. The second thing that it is costing you is money. It is costing you money because within your business, and this is something that I hear a lot from the students who come through my programs, is I tend to attract the same kind of people. I'm attracting white folks just like me. And whilst that is great, it just doesn't feel right, Annie. I want to be able to attract people who come from different backgrounds. And I want the experience inside my business and my group programs to be one that is really enriched. And that is something that is missing. And I know it has something to do with the fact that this is work that I have found to be uncomfortable, and I just don't know what to do to bridge that gap. So the fact that you are not doing this work, the fact that you have that fear, it is costing you money. It's costing you clients, in that you are continuing to attract the same kind of people. You're continuing to help the same kind of people who come from those similar backgrounds. And guess what? You continue to elevate one group of people, and another group of people continue to remain stuck because of the systems that exist, that are at play, that we may or may not be contributing to, that we may be contributing to unknowingly, right? And then number three, it's costing you growth. And this is growth from a knowledge perspective, in terms of when you begin to do racial equity work, you begin to have language. You begin to understand things from a historical context that you may not have understood before. You begin to unpack your implicit biases. You begin to understand about prejudices and stereotyping, and how you may be doing these things as well. And how can you begin to be more aware of that and begin to reduce the ability to do that? And obviously, this is something that doesn't happen automatically. It's something that you have to be so conscious about and begin to work and take the steps towards doing better. Ever heard of that phrase about unlearning? You've got to unlearn certain things. How do you unlearn unless you're learning? How do you unlearn unless you are, hearing and investing your time and your money to help you grow? So it is costing you knowledge, the knowledge that you could be having in your life to help you grow and become a better person and become more tuned into what it takes to be an inclusive leader in your business. And then the other thing is that it's costing the growth of your business. We spoke about money, which is tied to generating, clients, growing. That will be impacted, because if you're only attracting a certain demographic, a certain group of people, then you're potentially leaving out another whole demographic of people who, by the way, could be ideal clients. But simply due to the fact that you are not doing racial equity work, you're not clued into inclusion work, then it is costing the growth of your business. And that is why I am so passionate about the program I've created called Represented. Represented is a 10-week program that walks you through 4 modules, step by step, from giving you a really good understanding of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and how that then relates to your business. And what I love is that we're able to have a little bit of a history lesson and talk about race and racism, its origins, and how it has impacted us, and what it is costing white people in particular. Because sometimes there's this understanding of, obviously, particularly for Black people, if you experience racism, you're on the receiving end, and so you're the victim. But when you get to understand the tentacles of racism, this is something that affects all of us. And in particular, I spent some time highlighting how that is affecting you as a white person and your business as well. And then we dive into understanding your business and your personal networks. How has this been impacted? Because you not having relationships with people who come from diverse backgrounds is impacting you in some way. And so we do a business and a personal audit to get to the root of the issue, so that then we can make steps forward as to how you can be more inclusive. And then we talk about conscious inclusion. How can you be conscious about being inclusive? Because inclusivity, just because you're having taken a course on racial equity, it's not automatic. It's something that you have to be intentional about. And we talk a little bit about that, and you get the skills on and the areas, specific areas in your business, your services, your promotions, your operations, the partnerships that you have, the collaborations. We dissect those areas, and we talk about how you can be more intentionally inclusive in those areas. And then finally, module 4, we finish off on how to be a genuine ally and advocate. So it's all about advocacy, all about allyship, describing what allyship really is, what being genuine is. We talk about performative activism as well. But more importantly, I get to share my framework around calling in rather than calling out. And it's something that a lot of students who've come through the program resonate with, the idea of being called in with love rather than being called out and made to feel a certain way. And so it is through the way I teach of allowing people to come as they are, whether this is work that is brand new to them or work that they have been doing for some time, there is definitely something for you to take away. And so right now, we are currently enrolling into the next round, which is March 2024, with the ability for you to get started with some pre-work. So for a minimum amount of deposit, you will get access to the pre-work for the next 6 months, because a lot of people say, I want to be part of this program represented, but the timing's just not working. Either I've signed up for another program, we're moving house, or we're renovating, or I've just had a baby, and there's just so much happening, and I just don't feel like the timing is quite right. And this is how I'm addressing that, by allowing you access to the pre-work, and you can pace yourself over the next 6 months, so that come March 2024, you've done the pre-work, which, by the way, isn't much. This is work that you can complete within a week or 2 max. And so you can pace yourself and even keep coming back to that pre-work, so that by the time we begin the live round in March 2024, you are so best placed to participate and really just hit the ground running. And when you join before the 15th of October, here's the thing. You get access to a virtual retreat that I will be hosting in January, which is all around diversity, equity, and inclusion planning. How do you put DEI goals into play for 2024, so that this is not work that is, on the list and never gets done, work that you put in the back burner, but actually goals that you can put together, doable goals that will see you begin to make progress in your inclusion journey. All the details below this video, and I sincerely hope you can join us.